Think scaling AI is hard? Think again. With Watson X, you can deploy AI across any environment. Above the clouds, helping pilots navigate flights, and on lots of clouds, helping employees automate tasks. On-prem, so designers can access proprietary data, and on the edge, so remote bank tellers can assist customers. Watson X works anywhere, so you can scale AI everywhere. Learn more at ibm.com/WatsonX. IBM. Let's create.
ABC Wednesdays.
I'm Joan, and I'm your first Golden Bachelorette.
Joan's getting a second chance.
This is about everybody like me, navigating, trying to find love at this age.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't have hope.
Because love never ages.
Golden age doesn't mean you're old. Old is a state of mind, like a lot of living to do.
The Golden Bachelorette, Wednesdays on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit your podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel so supported in the creation and distribution of my show. Spotify for Podcasters hosts masterclasses, office hours, and more to help creators develop and fine-tune their skills. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Hello, everybody. What the heck is up? Welcome to season 2 of 80/20. I'm so excited to be back behind the mic today. I'm so excited to be in your speakers today, or in your Bluetooth, or in your earbuds, or on your phone, or wherever you're playing the show. I am just absolutely pumped to be back and to toss some really, really good content your way twice a week for the foreseeable future. I have a very different, I don't know if it's like super different, but I just have a different perspective on content creation and the direction that I want my, essentially like my life and my career to go. I've spent the past couple months really diving deep, doing a lot of soul searching and personal growth, and we'll get into that, throughout the next season, essentially, just kind of like my journey and like where I've been and where I'm going. But I kind of disappeared from the podcast realm for a little bit. The last time I posted a show was back in March, and I wasn't really planning on taking a break from podcasting. It just kind of happened naturally that way. Kind of took a step back from everything just to kind of like reflect and revamp and renew and refresh, and just, I don't know how to describe it, but I have just grown so much since the day that I started this show back in September, October of 2020. I am not the same girl that recorded the very first episode that was like, welcome to the podcast, what you can expect, my intentions for the show, like all that stuff. That girl that you hear on like episode 1 is not the same girl that is sitting here in front of the microphone today, recording the first episode of season 2. So whether this is the first episode that you're ever hearing from me, or if this is the like billionth piece of content that you've consumed from me, because I've been on social media for, 5 years now, and there have been so many different versions of me that you guys have probably seen if you have been following me for a while, and that's so natural, especially at this age. I feel like you're totally allowed to reinvent yourself as many times as you want to until you get to the person that you want to be. And even then, it's like we're never supposed to be done growing. Like, we're always supposed to be evolving and changing and working towards something new and something better. I just feel like this past year has been the most transformative for me, and it's been a wild ride, and it's almost like I couldn't keep up with myself. it's almost as if I would post a piece of content and then the next time I would go to post, there would be something totally different in my life. So going through these mental, physical, spiritual shifts in my own life, it was so hard to keep up day to day, week to week, month to month. I felt like I was changing so much. And I got to this point where I was like, okay, I'm making content, but it's all like hauls and like what I'm doing today and just kind of showing what felt like to me just really, really materialistic level things when I was just totally on a different level than the content that I was producing. And I didn't know how to essentially merge those two, like where I was in my life mentally versus the content that I was putting out. And to an outsider's perspective, that would probably just look like inconsistency. But in reality, I just didn't have a way to describe the shift that I was going through because my content couldn't reflect that. I don't even know if this is making sense to you guys, but I know to someone out there who's probably going through the same thing, you know, maybe the people in their life aren't meeting up with where they are. It's really just outgrowing your current situation. That's all it is. If you've ever had a plant in your house, sometimes it gets a little bit too big for its pot and you have to transfer it into a different pot and then just to continue that growth. When we put ourselves into these little boxes and we say, no, we have to do this type of job, or we have to live in this place, or we have to make this type of content because this is what we think the people want to see, or we have to be friends with these certain people. Sometimes you just got to take a step back and be like, okay, I need to let myself grow and I need to let go of those old things that are maybe no longer serving me, or maybe I just need to switch it up. That all being said, I needed to take some time to reflect on how I was feeling, compare that to what I was creating, and I need to really define what I want my next steps to be, what I want to focus on, because you can't put your energy into 10 billion different things. This past spring, I launched my first ever group coaching program, and that was such an amazing, transformative experience. I had the opportunity to coach a couple dozen amazing girls through a mind, body, soul transformation, and that was such a cool experience. But I wanted to pour as much energy into that program as I possibly could. And so then I was like, okay, well, I don't really have time to vlog because I'm doing this program. And then I was like, okay, the podcast kind of has to take a backseat. And then through that program, I was really able to further define like what I want to do, because I really just want to help people, which sounds pretty broad. So I've kind of narrowed it down a little bit. I was actually just in the process of writing out a new bio for the podcast, and one of the sentences in that little bio, because like, you know, when you tap on a new podcast, there's like a description or whatever. And one of the sentences in that description was that I'm on a mission to uncomplicate health and wellness for 20-something women. And that's essentially what this podcast is all about. I was listening back to a couple of the episodes from this past fall and winter, and without even having a goal for the show, like I really just started this podcast last September, October, for fun. I really just wanted another outlet and another opportunity to connect with my subscribers, and podcasting is almost as if you're on the phone with a friend. So you guys obviously know what happens next. Obviously, I started a show and I posted a couple times a month, and I honestly got a really like cool listener base, and I'm so grateful that you guys have stuck with me through this journey, this wild ride that I've been on. And we'll kind of get into a little bit of how I've initiated this growth in my life and where I am now, and how I've just kind of like launched out of my comfort zone into this next new version of me that I know I'm meant to be. I'm growing every single day. But anyway, reeling it back in, I started the show with really no plan, no direction. I just started recording episodes and I loved it. I love podcasting. It's quickly become my favorite form of content. And with that being said, I am absolutely pumped to be back, and I'm pumped to tell you guys that 80/20 is the place to come for long form content from me. And I'm going to be posting new episodes 2 times a week. We have some really, really cool topics coming up, some really, really fun guests coming up, and I could not be more excited to see where this journey takes us of season 2 of 80/20. So just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what to expect, at least for the summer season, I think I'm going to call it like season 2 will be the summer, season 3 will be the fall, season 4 will be the winter. Like it will literally go with the seasons. I just feel like that's the easiest way to do it. And I wanted to kind of read off some topics that I already have in the queue just to get you guys excited for what you can listen to here on the pod. So you guys are listening to this episode today. I've actually dropped 3 new episodes. And obviously, if you're listening to this one, this is kind of like the season 2 kickoff episode. The second episode that went live today is called My Daily Routine. And in that episode, I kind of take you guys through what I've been doing, like the nitty gritty of what I've been doing every single day, including my daily habits to set myself up for success, for productivity, and the things that I do to rest and recover each day, like a little morning routine moment, a night routine moment. That one's kind of like a little catch up too, because I've definitely been up to some new stuff recently, and I really wanted to share the nitty gritty of what I've been doing, because it's truly those like little daily habits that you do that add up. So take journaling, for example, which we'll talk about journaling here in a second, but I journal every single day. If I don't journal for a day or 2, I feel it, and I feel a shift in my mindset, not a good shift. I feel a shift in my mindset, and I just start to feel more anxious. I start to feel more stressed, and journaling is truly an outlet that allows me to discover myself and discover parts of my mind that I've never been to before. And ever since I started journaling, I've seen such an improvement when it comes to my stress and anxiety. I've started to see improvements in my sleep patterns. I've started to just feel less overwhelmed in life because I've been putting pen to paper. So journaling is an example of a daily habit, part of my daily routine, and I take you guys through all of those little nitty-gritty habits that I do every single day that add up to be my life. The third episode that went live today is actually all about journaling, which is exciting. This episode is Journaling 101, like your tutorial on how to journal. And I take you through my journaling routine, setting the mood, and methodologies to journal. And then I tell you a little bit about how to get my journal prompts, which kind of brings us into what I want to talk about next, which is something called Lil's Circle. This is the last little admin type, like administrative announcements type segment, I promise. And then we're gonna get into my shift and then a couple of ways that I've kind of tapped into my mind and started to become the person who I'm meant to be. But before we get into that, I wanted to tell you guys about Lil's Circle. So a lot of people start like Facebook pages for their podcasts, and it's like a landing page for all the listeners, because Instagram, I love Instagram. You guys know, big Instagram girl. I ran an entire coaching program through Instagram a couple months ago, and it just always has felt so one-sided. There's no way for you, the listener, to lead the way, if that kind of makes sense. So it's like I could post something, but then you just have to leave a comment. I don't know, it gives me this weird hierarchy vibe, as if the poster is is above the commenter. If that kind of makes sense. Does that visual kind of make sense in everybody's heads? I don't know. I wanted to create a place for you guys to land, a landing page for us, a place for us to congregate, a place for us to connect. And okay, anyway, circling back to the Facebook page thing. A lot of people make Facebook pages for their podcast, but I do not have Facebook, and I actually cannot stand Facebook. And I don't know if this is just because Facebook is not really for my generation, it's for the generation above me and the generation above them. It's not fun for me, okay? I don't know if it was just the people who I happen to be like quote friends with on Facebook, or just maybe the fact that everybody, I don't know. Instagram gives me good vibes, Facebook gives me bad vibes. So I deleted my Facebook about, maybe it was even like a year ago. I don't really know. I never used it anyway. And I refused to get back on it. And yes, I realize that Facebook is owned by Instagram, or Instagram's owned by Facebook, but I don't know, different vibes on each one. Anything that I got bad vibes from or get bad vibes from, I removed from my life, which we'll talk about here in a second when we get into like my shift part of this episode. But I was getting bad vibes from Facebook, so I deleted it. So I'm not going to create a podcast, Facebook, Instagram page. This is the longest explanation ever. Circling back to the topic at hand. Lil's Circle is an online platform, and you can access it by going to lilyraco.com/join. If you have your phone available or your computer available, I recommend pulling up the page so we can kind of go through it together. It's a lot easier for you to see it rather than just me telling you about it. But if you're driving, please don't. And you can look at it later because I'm going to kind of talk about it now. I really wanted a place for us to connect, but I also wanted it to provide value. You guys know I'm really, really big on value. And if something doesn't bring value, it's not worth it. So Lil Circle is also a resource for you. There are 3 main sections of our circle. Oh, by the way, the name is called Lil Circle because there's an episode coming next week. It's called Ditch the Drama and Find Your People. And a main theme, kind of in a bunch of my episodes, is just about how the people you surround yourself with have the biggest impact on who you are as a person and how you feel in life and how you're doing. And so if you don't have a positive circle of people, if you don't have a supportive circle of people, there's no way for everything else to fall into place until you have that positive, uplifting circle. And so I wanted this platform to be a positive, uplifting place for us to be. There are 3 main parts of the circle, and I'm going to add more eventually, but I really wanted it to be streamlined. I didn't want it to just be a place to be like, oh yeah, hop on like the forum, the platform, and just post whatever you want. The first one is the 80/20 podcast group. And I created this group so you and I can have a two-way street rather than that like hierarchy of Instagram. So this group is for you and I to connect with one another. It's a group for you to also connect with other listeners and dive deeper into the things that we talk about here on the podcast, have an open conversation around podcast topics. It's a great opportunity to give and get advice from myself and other listeners. And it is also the place to be when it comes to asking questions for our monthly Q&A episode. That'll just be basically like an advice column once a month, and that's the place to ask the questions for it. So that's kind of what the 80/20 podcast group is all about, and it really is what we make it. So if you guys have an idea of something that you want me to incorporate into the group, or an idea of a different type of group that you want me to launch, please let me know, because I'm very, very open to receive and implement all of your ideas, because this show and this whole platform is for you. The second group within Lil Circle is called the Journaling Prompts group. You guys already know that I would not be where I am today without journaling, and I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to dive deeper into your mind, body, soul connection as well. Every Monday, I'll be posting new prompts that I've written to help you become the best version of yourself. These are also prompts that I've used in order to become the best version of myself, and like little journaling tips and tricks too, because sometimes like you don't necessarily want a whole like prompt, but you just want a little something to give you that extra push. This will all make sense in my Journaling 101 episode. I tell you more about the journaling group in that episode, so definitely go listen. And once you listen to that episode, you definitely will want to join the journaling group. Just join the whole thing. You don't want to miss out. And then the third group is called the Challenges and Mini Programs. So these challenges and mini programs will take place a couple times a year, maybe even like every other month or so. And these are for circle members who just want like a little splash of Lily Raco Health in their cup. And if you're looking for a way to level up your wellness within just like a short little challenge mini program atmosphere. And the first mini program is actually a 7-day sweaty summer challenge. And you definitely do not want to miss out on that. And then eventually I will house programs like Good Things Come in Threes and other Lily Rago Health coaching programs within the platform as well for members who choose to join those. When you sign up for Lil Circle, you're automatically enrolled in these 3 groups. So to sign up, you can use the link in the show notes. Just hit join Lil Circle, and then you could probably just click Lil Circle. I'll take you right to our page. But if you want to go through my website, you can just go to lilyrago.com/join. That will also take you to Lil Circle, and then you just have to click new user, sign up with your email, create a password, and then enter your full name, and that'll just be your username, and then you are a part of Lil Circle. I'm so excited to have each and every one of you on this platform, and I cannot wait to start connecting with you all. Kind of gonna shift gears here for a moment and talk about my shift, what I've been going through the past few months, a couple life updates, and just kind of catch up. So I wrote in my journal the other day, and I want to kind of share an excerpt from my journal, which is super personal but super relatable to what we're talking about today. And it's been kind of tough to put into words what exactly has been going through my mind. But the other night, I was just putting pen to paper, and I really, really was able to map out what I've been doing the past couple months and what's changed and how I've mentally changed, and I guess like physically changed too. Like when I look in the mirror, like sometimes I'm like, I don't like recognize myself in like a very, very good way. I'm truly not the same person that I was a year ago or even 6 months ago. And like I said earlier in this episode, it's important that we're always growing, always changing, and there's never, I don't have like an end point in mind. I don't really think that it's good to live under the impression that, oh, once I get to this place where I look a certain way, or where I'm making X amount of money each month, or when I have these friends in my life, when I have this going on, then I'll finally be happy, because it's like this endless cycle. You're always just going to be wanting more. So I think something that's really, really been beneficial to me is just realizing that this moment right here is all we really have. So if we're not happy in this moment, what makes you think that you're going to be happier when you finally get to that dream destination or that dream place? Or, oh, I'll be happy when I finally get to do XYZ. When XYZ truly happens, are you actually going to be happy, or did you just assume that you were going to be happy? Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and read this excerpt from my journal, because that's just the easiest way for me to display what has been happening rather than just kind of rambling on and on. So this is from May 11th, 2021. Been trying to put my shift into words. Tonight I was reflecting on a lot, and I realized that the biggest difference between me today versus the me yesterday is that I'm very present, very in the moment. I don't really focus on the past, something that I felt forced to focus on through vlogging, and I didn't even know it. When I was so focused on getting content or having content, it was tough for me to see past the self-made content calendar. I felt like I always had to do things, shopping, go out to get coffee, etc. for content. I truly did things for the vlog without even knowing it. But since putting the camera down, I've been able to become more focused on who I am and who I want to be, what I truly want to do with my life, rather than living life through a lens, or judging every move I make when I go to edit the video. I'm able to see now past the video. I think that whenever I do post on YouTube, I need each video to go beyond the materialistic stuff. It must contain something meaningful, or else it means nothing. Content aside, I've been spending so much time connecting with myself on a deep, deep level. I spend at least 20 to 30 minutes every day on meditation, most of the time more. I journal every single day as an outlet for self-discovery. I've been spending more time outside than I ever have before, and I truly can say that I just love life. I've been spending more time on me and less time in the comment section. It's been tough to put my shift into words or an exact picture, because it's not a whole lot of this versus that, but I just feel different, better, and more aligned with the best version of myself. I'm the least stressed that I've been in probably 5 years. I feel like I'm finally able to maintain peace within my mind, which is something that I could not do for such a long time. So what changed? I unfollowed or stopped consuming content that no longer aligned with me. I don't watch YouTube. I'm super selective with my podcasts. Pausing the journal, reading for a second. I love to listen to The Balanced Blonde, Kenzie Burke, the Mimi Method podcast, The Skin Confidential. just because those podcasts actually teach me something, and they bring me peace and joy rather than listening to people like chat on and on about like their favorite lip gloss or something, which moving away from the materialistic side of content has truly been a huge part of my shift. Okay, back to my excerpt from the journal. Meditation and visualization, who and what I want to be, has been a catalyst for change. Daily breath work, a daily routine that I love to stick to, following a plant-based diet, the occasional fish, discovering food allergies through an elimination diet. I stopped reading the comments in my own videos and in others. Those would always bring me so much anxiety because if someone had the guts to say it about someone else, then they were probably saying it about me too. I always struggled with the comment section. I actually turned mine off for a while because I never understood how people felt like they had free will to just comment absolutely anything on your life. I started to go to yoga more. I surrounded myself with high vibe people, and I did more of what felt good. I started paying attention more to what felt good. So as I went through day-to-day life, if something made me feel happy, had a positive connotation attached to it, a positive emotion, I wrote it down and I did it again. That was the journal excerpt that I wanted to read to you guys. Super, super personal, like I mentioned, but I think there is a lot to be said from what comes from just like a stream of consciousness. I kind of challenged myself to not pick the pen off of the paper until I felt done writing. I turned on Peaceful Meditation. It's a playlist on Spotify, and I just started writing and writing and writing, and I didn't stop until I felt like I just had nothing, truly nothing left in the tank to say, like no words left to give, and kind of speaks for itself. I probably won't like elaborate too much on that. Underneath the what changed section, like that was kind of a bulleted list that I was reading off. I'm not sure if you guys could pick up on that. Like they weren't full sentences. They were just like a bulleted list of things that I began to do that truly benefited my mind, body, and soul. So that was a super personal excerpt, and I guess throughout the next season of this podcast, we'll kind of elaborate more on some of the things that I talked about. But I think that a common theme is that across the board is that once you stop living life for other people or living life for something else, or even just spending too much time on social media, life can change. I think a lot of us live our life online instead of living life in real life. And it's a really fine line between like real life and online life, and we're all constantly consumed with this online world, like whether we know it or not. And people nowadays can't be themselves. It's really, really hard for us to even start to visualize who we want to be without coming up with a different person in mind, like, oh, I want to be like this person when I grow up, or I wish that I was as successful as this person, or I wish that I looked like this person, or I wish that I had what this person had. It didn't really make sense to me until recently that it's like, why don't we start to visualize ourselves, like literally picture yourself like as you are right now, but in that place that you want to be, rather than comparing yourself to somebody else or something else. Don't compare yourself, but just visualize yourself as yourself where you wish you were. You don't have to do the exact same things as everybody else on Instagram. You don't have to live like a copy-paste life of somebody else. And once you come to terms with the fact that you are your own person, you have full control over who you get to be, what you want to wear, what you want to think about, who you want to be in life, that is when life gets so much better. And there are a lot of factors, like I mentioned in that journal excerpt, that have played into my shift. But I truly think that being present, stopping the comparison, because I stopped being online as frequently, were both catalysts for change in my life. Back in February, I wrote something in my notes section that I want to read to you guys, because I feel like this was the day where I truly was like, okay, I need to go on a huge unfollowing spree. I just need to stop looking at my phone. I need to stop relying on other people to tell me what to do, and I just need to do the work myself. The little note in my phone says, I'm done taking advice from people on my feed. It's so overwhelming. I know my body better than anyone, so I can heal myself. And that was on February 19th, 2021. It's May 19th. 2021. I'm recording this, and I can truly say that I have never felt less stressed, lighter, more free in my entire life than I do today. And that's because I've just shifted my whole perspective on social media, my whole perspective on, I guess, just like life in general. Like, I always knew that obviously we're supposed to spend less time online and more time in the present, but it goes so much deeper than that. And it truly comes from just being so confident and so okay with like sitting with yourself and doing the work that needs to be done. Like, I used to always say that I wasn't a meditator. I used to always say that I could never turn my brain off. It's so hard for me to meditate. And then within the past few months, I've realized that meditation doesn't have to be this perfect time of day where you turn your brain off and think about nothing. It can be an active practice where you go for a walk and you turn on some peaceful music and you just let yourself go deep into your thoughts. And you can do it guided. I've really been enjoying the Mimi method meditations, and she's really good, like flow meditations, walking meditations, even just like sitting meditations. Once you begin to do the work for yourself and implement small little things into your daily life that are for you, change happens. And if there's one thing that you take away from this episode, please let it be this: no one can do the work for you. And you can talk about it all you want, you can dream about being the best version of yourself, but until you go out there and actually do it and put in the work and take active steps towards being the person that you truly want to be, that's when change happens. Getting offline has to be a part of that equation, because when you're constantly scrolling Pinterest, okay, take this as an example. My sister, my older sister, is in the process of planning her wedding, and she has so many cool ideas, but then the second she goes on Pinterest, it's like an overwhelm of information. And then there's all these like TikTok wedding planners, and she was talking to us about this the other day, that all these TikTok wedding planners are saying that you need to do your wedding this way, you need to do XYZ, make sure that, you know, these family members are on the guest list, but don't invite these people. And like, just this overstimulation of ideas can just completely shatter any plan that you had for yourself, because you have all these outside voices that you don't even know telling you what to do. Or you go on Pinterest and it's like, make sure that you do XYZ for your wedding, but like you want to do ABC. And then you feel like a piece of crap because you aren't doing what Pinterest told you to do, or you're not doing what the TikTok wedding planner told you to do. But in reality, like, it's your wedding. You can do whatever you want. Same thing with life. You have all these outside voices: Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. I mean, just all these people telling you what to do. It's such an overwhelm of information. And until you take that away, there's no possible way that you can truly be yourself until you just turn your frickin' phone off and just take a break. Just breathe and delete the apps if you have to, or just tell yourself, you know, I'm going to go on for 30 minutes and just kind of check out what my friends are up to, check out what the people are doing, and then I'm going to turn it off. Or just tell yourself that you're not going to let certain accounts affect you, or you're not going to let certain people follow you, or you're going to unfollow certain people, or you're going to block people who come into your DMs with nasty comments telling you what you should post and how you should live your life, and that they don't like the fact that you've changed. Block those people, because those aren't the people that you want to surround yourself with anyway. I am in the process of creating another program option for my health coaching clients, and I wanted to come up with some sort of template, design, graphic thing that I could use to kind of explain what the program looks like and how I would teach the program. And I came up with something called, well, I don't really know if I like the name. Currently it's called the LRH method, but I just feel like annoyed, like slapping my name on everything, like Lily Rayco Health this, Lily Rayco Health that. And like, obviously it's my name, and it just kind of came naturally, like LRH, abbreviated Lily Rayco Health. And I was going to call it the LRH method, but I was like, I don't know. So I'm working on a cool name for it, but it's a little graphic that encompasses the 6 elements of my coaching business and the 6 elements that I have found to be the most critical when you're on some sort of health and wellness journey. For me, it started with the food. When I began to care about what I was putting in my body, I began to love myself a little bit more. I felt more confident. And then it turned into, okay, while I'm eating well, I also need to move my body. So I found movement that works for my body. And then I was like, okay, I've got the food down. I like to go to yoga. I like to go to spin classes. Pilates is cool. Long walks on the beach, totally my cup of tea. But now I need a group of people in my life that can truly lift me up. And I found those people. And then I was like, okay, I need to love what I'm doing. And so I enrolled in the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I got my health coaching certification, and I started a health coaching business. And then I started this podcast, and here we are today. And then I was like, okay, I need to make sure that I do everything with kindness and love. And I want everything that I do, every move I make, to be backed with love and kindness, because there's not enough of that in the world. And then I was like, okay, I still feel like something's missing. And it was that inner work, that soul connection, that deep shit that is challenging to go to, that place that is super uncomfortable to be in, because so much change happens. But when I went there, and I'm still going there, I'm like not even close to being done with the interpersonal development, soul shifting, growing, changing work that I'm doing, because I don't think that it's a process that ever comes to an end. But that was the missing piece. This method, this template that I have used to heal myself and truly create the best possible version of Lily that I could ever create. And I'm always working on her. We're always growing. We're always changing. But this methodology, this template, is something that I want to bring to the podcast. And so through every episode, you can expect to hear at least one of these elements, if not more. And they're all so intertwined. And it's tough to feel fulfilled until you've filled out this entire circle. And it has to be on your own timeline. There's no one size fits all approach to this method, but it works and it makes you feel really freaking good. And I just wanted to share this methodology with you all, because nutritious food, daily movement, a supportive circle, enjoying what you do, enjoying life, enjoying work, spreading kindness and love wherever you go and towards yourself, and having a connection with the most inner workings of yourself. That is the key to a long and healthy and well life. And my mission is to make this method as foolproof and as easy as I can possibly make it for you all here on this podcast. Thank you for listening to this episode of 80/20. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by dropping a rate and a review. This helps more people just like you find and listen to the show. Don't forget to follow me, Lily, on Instagram. My username is @LilyRakow. That's LILYRAKOW. And follow the podcast Instagram page as well, which is 8020pod. That's 8020pod on Instagram. New episodes of 80/20 go live every Monday and Thursday, or subscribe to stay up to date with the latest.